Humanitarian aid for Tigray! Humanitarian aid for Tigray! Humanitarian aid for Tigray! No chemical weapons on Tigray! No chemical weapons on Tigray! No chemical weapons on Tigray! Stop the war on Tigray! Silence is violence! Silence is violence! Silence is violence! Silence is violent! Justice for Tigray! 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 Fighting! 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 We demand justice! We demand justice! We demand justice! We demand justice! Sanction Ethiopia! Sanction Ethiopia! Sanction Ethiopia! Sanction Eritrea! Sanction Eritrea! Ethiopia's committing genocide! Eritrea's committing genocide! Sanction Ethiopia! Sanction Ethiopia! Sanction Ethiopia! ICC! Are you trying to open it? Yeah. Okay. You got it. So press it down. What are you thinking further? Did you buy it? Section in Ethiopia! There you go. Justice for Tigray! Justice for Tigray! Amhara militia out of Tigray! Amhara militia out of Tigray! Amhara militia out of Tigray! Ethiopian troops out of Tigray! Ethiopian troops out of Tigray! Eritrean troops out of Tigray! Justice! We deserve justice! Justice for Tigray! Justice for Tigray! Cameraman, come here. Come in here. Live in our side. Come in here. Bye.
All right, guys, we are in Denver, Colorado. This is day one of the protest. We have an amazing crowd just with the chant, the weather is beautiful. It's going to get warm later, but we have law enforcement also helping out here. Thank you for your service, officer. No problem. Alejandro? justice. We demand justice. We demand justice. The right deserves justice. Justice for Tigray. 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 Rape is not a weapon. 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 Stop raping our mothers. Stop raping our mothers. Stop raping our mothers. Stop raping our mothers. Stop raping our daughters. 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 Stop the rape. 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 Thank you.
Abiy is a killer. 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 People over politics. 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 Tigray will prevail. 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 Stop the war on Tigray. 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 Send humanitarian aid. Allow humanitarian aid. Allow humanitarian aid. Allow humanitarian aid. Stop weaponizing race. 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 Stop weaponizing hunger. Stop weaponizing hunger. Stop weaponizing hunger. Stop weaponizing hunger. Eritrean troops out of Tigray. 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 Abiy is a killer. 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 Say no to war. 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 Say no to war.
Okay. Check 1, 2.
Nope.
Check 1, 2. How about that?
1, 2.
Check 1, 2. Engine, كلاتنا نبدأ نقاتل هنا. معناته إذا صار السيستم حد قاتلنا أبطأ وتنسى. زين لا يريد استشهد حركة الحرائق من تمامي. مايكروفون يرونا راح بلاود سبيكر ياخذكم كلهم ناقصين. ناقصين شغل يزني ما صار تطلع بدل نحسب تناقض وعلى خطة الاثنين مهايمين هذه أنا ما قلتها وايد كل هذا عمل وايد كل 16 أو 17.
So he just announced, you guys, we're going to take it to the right side, to the park. Several of the vehicles are going to go, so we're going to use a megaphone for chanting. So for those of you who may not understand Tigray now, just FYI.
Anybody want it?
Thank you. Let it keep it going, though. Keep it going.
Thank you. Now give them a home. We have to go this way.
Okay, you guys
And
go.
we are the 16 balls straight. We're going from there.
So, some can have money. How's that? ودي بربك دقال لا عين عندك عين زين كذا اوكي عين احسن هذا كمان Go ahead. We're gonna do this, okay? Thank you, USA! Sorry.
Thank you, USA!
Thank you, people of Tigray!
Thank you, USA! Thank you, USA! We're standing with the people of Tigray! We support! We support! Your expectation! Sanction Ethiopia!
Jamila, هذا؟ Thank you.
Sanction Ethiopia and Eritrea!
غدا غدا.
Thank you, Biden! Thank you, USA!
What's up, guys? How we doing? All right. So there you go, guys. The real
Thank you for coming, Cyberpower. We really do appreciate it.
Thank
always,
you.
As always, as usual, covering us. We love and appreciate it. Cyberpower to the end.
Thank you. So can you turn around and see what's on your back?
What was that?
What's on your back?
On my back, it's
Yeah. Oh, wait, I didn't see it.
TPLF is the elected government of Tigray. 98.2% of Tigray is voted for TPLF, and that's the official and the governing body of Tigray. We are here to tell the United States government to restore our elected government and the value of democracy and freedom.
And how many people voted to elect the Tigray government?
98.2. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We want justice for our people that are dying, our women, our mothers, our sisters getting raped, our young brothers getting killed. We want justice for them. We will never give up. Even when we have freedom, we will never give up until our people are free and we get justice. And we will get justice. We will never give up.
Thank you.
Keep going.
Thank you.
That's what Tigray Academy.
Thank you. Thank you. How are you guys?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Am I playing for
Behind
them?
you? Good.
Did you bring my necklace?
I'm trying. So the necklace won't be another 2 more weeks.
I think I'm just gonna take this one at this point. What's the point?
I know, right?
It's It's okay. I'll be around.
Ball. Ball. Ball.
Stefanos, hello.
أبغى نسبه كله. ثلاثين بط حيزني نعم. سبوا بط حيزني. What's up, guys? Lahando? How we doing? Lahando? Usher, how we doing? Thank you. So we're live streaming.
Anybody that's on the grass, please make your way to the stairs. If you are on the grass, please make your way
Thank you.
to the stairs.
Thank you. Thank you. Lahando? زاين يا ملقتي. نزل تقرأ. زم جاكانو.
كلهم يلوم مويهم عمين كن سعرنا لعوتنا كل حل
عاوز يسقط سقمينية. أبدأ أسبرا.
وبتعامي فتية أبتعد زلهم حلهم جو زلهم سبون ديو أبزلها مور سبون غيره كن عوتنا.
Thank you.
Thank you.
سلام تغستي. رغم تغستي سايبر نهاية الكاوغة TMH. لحندو. ماشي.
دي ولقنا نبوت عيل زلوا خزار جلي لأن جرب تملكتنا بيكريو يجيبون له هذا يوم تاني.
This is the state capital Malatinai, of Denver, Colorado.
And the pre-bus. So we are going over there. We don't have the car.
Denver, Colorado. Miss Nikki said, "Port Great again, and Nina Khazila, Harazela, Sarahani, Kosen Hasatu, Natudo, Avila Khazita."
Now, Malta yo after Denver, Colorado, my state capital in Azana Hizi. We're going to chant in Nagorno Matina. Azikana, you party at the after the state capital. Nakina, Asada, Amshad, Howell. شروط نقبر عندنا على عبر يتم نحل فينا تطورنا هذا
حريف لكن سبب الباور خلينا مع الزومات
بعد لكن يصبوني هو حاجة تغير هم تغير أير وأير هاي تقرأي بعدين على حاجة تغير you guys look over where's the flight
Okay. كلهم مكروا اوكي استمعنا كلهم مكروا بيقولوا ባንዴራ ትግራይን ሃሽታግ ጀኖሳይድ ትግራይን ዝሓዘት ኤርፕሌንና ዝመሓላለፈላ ካብዚ ቀጢልና ኣብ 16 ስትሬት ክንከይድ ኢና ከምታ ዘለኹምዎ በዚኣ ተሪልኩም እስካብ ሊንከንን 16 ክንበፅሕ ከለና ሌፍቲ ክንገብር ኢና ናብ 16 ስትሬት ኢና ክንዓቱ ሕጂ እዛ ሒዝና ዘኒአና ትራክ ንለቃ ኣለና ጥራሕ ክዳውን ስፒከር ኢኹም ክትጥቀሙ አለናዶ ንሕና ተጋሩ ጠላትና ሮመፂና ትግራይ ትስዕር ወረርቲ ሻዕብያ ወረርቲ ናዮም ሓራ ተስፋዕፋዕቲ ፋሽስታውያን ሰራዊት ብልፅግና ኣብ መሬት ትግራይ ክተርፉ እዮም ንሕና ተጋሩ ንስዕር ትግራይ ትዕወት حسب مالتا استوسنة تسمعنا اسكان المعرارة حجي عم تقرشاون ببي كم نايدن يروحوا يروحوا منع سعيون كلهم عم تمطوا بثلاث ارباع بوطة فراليهم مالتا
Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today. As you all, my name is Marcella Gilford. Getting from the mayoral office and the past. Most importantly, our brother is fighting this fight.
رغبة
Colorado. I'm not from your great country. I'm not from some of the lands that you come from. But what I am from is a place that believes deeply in your rights to safety and to the protection of your young girls, and to the protection of your family members, despite the fact that they tried to cut the communication, despite the fact they try to hide their shame from the world. We believe that we are going to stand for justice, and justice will down like a mighty stream, and truth like a mighty river. Amen. 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 As I mentioned, I have the honor of serving in many capacities, and it doesn't matter my titles. I have the honor of serving our mayor, who has also taken a stand against this. He also shared his thoughts and his prayers and his condemnation of what has taken place in Tigray. But most importantly, I am a father. And for some of the men in this instance who have been horrendously put in a position to shamefully be used in a tool to try to shame their daughters, to try to break their daughters, to try to break their families, let us speak specifically around the egregious things that are taking place. And for those who would try to pretend that this crisis isn't taking place, for those who would try to decry and make this look like this is not a real issue, shame on you, and may God
Thank you.
for the sinfulness of you trying to cover up a human disgrace. Rwanda was 100 days. We are now coming on 220 days of persecution, 220 days of injustice, 220 days of self-hatred, 220 days of a leader who should be ashamed of his behavior.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I stand in no official capacity other than a man who is a Black American with a receding hairline.
Yes, sir.
From this country.
Yes,
But
sir.
I do not have to be where you're from to care about what's going on in your native land. I do not have to speak Amharic or Tigrinya to understand in English that no matter the language that is
Yes. Amen. 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 Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't have a lot of money to send overseas. I wish I did. I don't have political office. I don't have prominence. I don't have even that many followers on Instagram. But what I do have is one voice. You see, there's a passage in scripture that talks about a battle at Jericho, where they began to march around a wall to defeat an enemy. And I submit to you that if one person would have raised their voice, it would have been powerful, but it wouldn't have won the battle. I submit to you that if two people would have raised their voice, it would have been powerful, but it would not have won the battle. But when we all come together, when we as one voice, one community, one people raise up and decide that we will not sit on the sidelines of humanity, that when our children ask us, where were we in this moment? We will say that we were here fighting across the world, that we with one voice lifted up a shout and said, no more, no more, no more.
Yes, sir. No more. No more.
You see, I was doing laundry the other day. I tried to be a good husband. Husbands do laundry. It's a wonderful thing.
Yes, sir.
I came across a t-shirt that says Jigna.
Yes, sir.
I didn't fully know what that meant. I had to Google it. But when I found what it meant simply somebody who was brave enough
Yep.
to stand on behalf of no matter where we're going. Jigana. Ah, yes!
You got it. You got it.
But it is in that spirit that I will go back to my offices, that I will go back to the churches that I'm in, that I will go back to the spaces and share this message, because shame on us if we would become yet another group of people who history remorses and looks back and says, where were you? We were in the fight. We were taking a stand. We called off work. We did what we needed to do to ensure that justice from here all the way to Tigray.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, brother. Give me the hand.
Thank you.
بزي أنا خير لنا ساعة بمزيها بزي أنا أخنا تولاتنا أبزي أنزل لهم مغاي حقوقنا زين زين مسلمون نعم مايكروفون كلهم
Come in here. You're live. David.
أنت سبيكر بعدكم كم يا عينك عم قوة كم يا عينك
So, my name is Mike. I'm part of the media. So, I live streamed the whole thing you were giving the speech on Cyber Power of Tigray Media.
Yes, sir.
I mostly do English broadcasting, but I was born in Tigray, so I'm part of the struggle in the movement. So I'm from Portland, Oregon, in that area. So, listening to your speech, you spoke from the heart. As we all know, this is not a politic. When atrocities, when rape is used as a weapon, when mass starvation is used as a weapon, when 5.2 million people are starving to death. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you. As a Tigrayan American, as a Black, as an African American, I am grateful and honored to see young people like you, Americans. And you know, when I look at you and I look at myself, I can't see the difference.
Exactly. And you look at the Battle of Adwa, like there's a precedent for our communities coming together to fight for each other. So it's all a past and it's going to be for the future. So it's an honor to be here. It breaks my heart that we have to be here. But let's lean in the fight together and across communities lean in to support each other. So Dad, I have a newborn at home out there, so I'm glad. My wife's like, where are you? But
She knows you're here fighting.
Yes.
And when your children looks back and says,
Yes, sir.
that's what MLK did.
Yes, sir.
And I'm not trying to put any comparison to my own needs, but every fight is important when it comes to humanity.
Yes, sir.
Ambassador Linda Thomas Greenfield, you an ambassador, an African American woman. She is the most outspoken woman, Black woman. I'm going to emphasize that.
Yes,
And she continues to fight for Tigray. And she's not fighting in politics, she's fighting in justice.
Yes.
When you see African American women like her speaking out loud
Exactly.
and clear, and the world fails, and her message when she tweeted yesterday, she asked, the humanitarian crisis in Tigray is worsening. Where is the UN? Where is the world?
Yes. Yeah.
And the world's not waking up.
Yeah.
I'm old enough to remember in Kosovo, Yugoslavia, in 1997. I was in high school in Southern California.
Exactly.
NATO took no time to take military action. They bombed. So we're asking the same thing. Again, I don't want to put you into politics, but from a humanitarian perspective, 7 months plus in this, 220 days.
Yes.
At what point are we going to say enough is enough and take military action? I know it's not up to me and up to you. That NATO's moved like military to the Mediterranean. The U.S. has deployed troops to Kenya.
Absolutely.
But why are we just letting the clock tick? And why are we allowing 150 people die every day of starvation?
You know, that is a great question. And what I can say is, I'm not trying to draw a comparison between administrations, but to the Trump administration, there was borderline essentially no action. And so not to draw a comparison to that leader or to disparage him, but facts are facts. With this new Biden administration, we've seen more resolutions, we've seen more action. And to your point, when is it going to be enough and when there's going to be a tipping point in order for folks to intervene? It does beg the question when there needs to be an emergency UN session to address this, which I'm hoping that there will be. But I think that there's a broader conversation around what the UN looks like and frankly, a reformulation of what that entity and that body looks like. Not because it's irrelevant, but because every organization, every body, whether it's in a government context or just in our own personal lives, all of us go through a season where we have to reflect on the tactic of old and see if we need to reform and refresh it in a more modern day context. And the challenges and the problems that we're seeing in today's society, what they were formed originally to deal with was preventative for another World War II, which arguably, when we look at the numbers and the data, and the trajectory of what this thing could become, we're heading that direction. And it's making sure that above politics, above people, which is what we were chanting, there's a diplomacy that unfortunately I think they're trying to consider in terms of trade and things of the nature. And past a certain point, whether it's what countries can gain or not gain, I hope that people are decent enough to supersede that typical political play and get into the game, because the notion that these young girls, you talk about an entire generation of people
who are being impacted, women who will not be able to childbear because of the trauma that they've endured physically, the psychological and mental and emotional trauma, and the tactic that it seems to be increasing in tension, that they're looking like there's an attempt to have a climactic kind of end to this, which I'm praying against, which I'm hoping that our leaders, to your point, realize that this thing is only increasingly getting worse. And at what point are you going to be able to look back at look yourself in the mirror and say, as an elected official and somebody who is in a position to change it at that national level, this is the impact that I could have had and I didn't for whatever reason. So that's on the conscience of those individuals, but my hope and my prayer is with demonstrations like this that will create an awareness that people cannot ignore. You know, you look at Black Lives Matter, it started off in a smaller capacity in about 2014, and now it's evolved into something that political candidates are discussing, and that's what we have right here. But I think that there's a broader conversation around what does political advocacy and agency look like for the continent of Africa, because continuously one region of the world will have an issue, and with far less deaths, although those are equally as tragic, but there's the exponential in Africa, and there's nowhere near the same kind of response, and it begs a moral, ethical question for the broader globe. What are we going to do to ensure that there's parity and equality for all continents, all countries, in terms of response and the severity there?
So it's interesting when you brought up about Black Lives Matter. Many of the young Tagara here, Tigray Americans, actually, we utilize the experience that we have had as part of
I've seen them march. I've been marching
so
with them.
So 2013, 2014 when it started, I was a little latecomer. I have to admit that I started in 2016 after the Ferguson, Missouri, is when it just, like I say, enough is enough. I'm a father of 2 daughters.
Yeah, I got a baby girl at home.
Yeah, so
when I heard about the stories, I looked at my daughter and I wept thinking about, could you imagine as a father?
That's right.
I mean, could you imagine?
No, absolutely.
You know,
it's horrific. So last thing. So for you to come out and speak from humanitarian perspective, because those who support dictators tend to label us somebody who has been paid by the Tigray leadership. The Tigray leadership is actually fighting for the Tigray people from the mountains of Tigray that alone have no bank access, internet's cut off, communications cut off, and yet most likely you are going to have people. We have Brother Jeff here in Denver, Colorado, African American.
Yes,
I'm sure
I'm
you
very
know.
familiar with him.
So I go on his show and we do a pretty serious reality checks for those who are deceiving and lying, because that's how they are creating the atrocity in Tigray. So with that comment, if and when somebody says to you, oh, he's probably from Tigray, or oh, I'm sure TPLF, which is the Tigray People Liberation Front, has paid you and paid me. That's what they say. Obviously, I'm self-funded when I travel. When they say that, are those the people that we want to pay attention and give them a platform to even go that route, or how do we handle that?
You know, it's and for the record and going on record, I have no concept of how to go about doing any of that foolishness, because at the end of the day, there's a human ethic and there's a natural human solical response when you hear of the atrocities that are going on that have nothing to do with being compensated. And for those who are willing to sell their souls for platforms to defame this kind of thing, or etc., that's neither here nor there. That is not my intention, and that's not at all anything that took place. I've had no contact with anybody. I heard about this in a last-minute capacity. I was asked to speak in a last-minute capacity just because of the fact that they know the heart and passion that I bring just from a humanitarian perspective, and that I care about people. But for those who would try to say that I've been paid or compensated, that is patently untrue. It's ridiculous, and it's a tactic for those who, quite frankly, want to create mistruths and lies and propaganda to try to, frankly, shift focus away from a broader issue, which is ensuring that this humanitarian issue of our generation, our day, is dealt with. This is the modern day Rwanda. And shame on us as a society and as a global context and a community to allow yet another thing on the same continent to take place. And for those who would try to, because of their own deception or their own, political loyalties that supersede their humanity, that is an ethical dilemma that they will face personally, but not one that I will endorse, nor will I allow them to implicate me as somebody who is that treacherous or that fangled as a person in terms of my character.
I couldn't say any better. For those of you following us live on Cyberpower of Tigray Media around the world, so you heard him. He came out. He's a father. He's a husband. He had no idea about Tigray politics, but he came here from deep from the heart, because when civilians are being massacred, we cannot stand by. We cannot idle. So personally, myself, you can label me, you can call me whatever you want. Every funding that I do, I am self-funded. I'm a father. I'm actually not going to get too detailed, but I am resident of Oregon. I'm a government employee in the state of Oregon. And when I speak on my time, on my watch, I'm not sponsored or paid by anyone other than I stand because I was a child refugee from Tigray 30 plus years ago in the Derg era. You all know, particularly those of you from Eritrea, from the Amhara region, you understand the atrocity that the Eritreans and the Tigrayans face. And the Tigray people brought democracy to Ethiopia and lost 70,000 young men and women fighting, and the economy that was built in the last 27 years, you switched it and say it was in the dark. Well, congratulations to you that Ethiopia now is dismantled financially, destroyed every infrastructure, and the political dynamic in Ethiopia has only gotten worse because now what you have is fight in the Oromia region, in the Benishangul region, and then atrocity in the Tigray region. And it is the Ethiopian unelected Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed Ali who invited the invading force of Eritrea who are actually creating the atrocity. So if the 700,000 civilians from the Mariam Zion of Aksum who were taken out and executed is not enough for you, when the young woman was raped by 23 Eritrean troops, and once they finished raping her, they put nails in her private area, used condoms, papers, rocks. If that's not enough for you, when the federal troops rounded up more than 30 young Tigrayans and say, you are going to be the next fighter, so before you go join the fight, we're going to execute you, and executed them live, streamed their bodies being pushed off the cliff of the mountains of Tigray, that is a heinous crime. So with that, I want to appreciate for those who come out and speak for the injustice of the people of Tigray. So I wanted to say thank you so much. So thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. So we'll end our broadcasting here, guys, and we appreciate you. Thank you so much for following us.